Welcome back to Half A Hot Rods. Today we're working on Missy's 94 Blazer, which is OBS GMT 400 series, CK series, depends on who you ask what they're called. But we were having trouble with the AC. It wasn't cooling. Got an issue fixed with that. We had a leak, we had a compressor problem, got all that taken care of. So now the vents are blowing cool air, but it just doesn't seem like it's enough volume. So I did a little research, found out that sometimes the evaporator will plug up inside the dash, and all the videos I found were of the GMT 400 series, but it was the 95 and newer, the newer interior. So I dug in a little bit, and there's some small differences, so I figured I'd do a quick video and show you what I found that was different on this one than what I found on the internet. So when you get inside, one of the big differences between this and the later ones is the dash style. We've got the square style dash, which is 88 to 94. And the glove box was pretty simple to figure out. There's 2 bolts on each side. They're a 7mm. They're not the 5.5 or 7/32 like the other videos say for the blower motor. If you pull that out, then you have easier access to get down in here to disconnect the black and the purple wires, which are power and ground for the blower motor. So we got that done. Got the blower motor. I watched all these videos and these guys are flexing and pulling on this cover for the blower motor, and it just flexes and stretches and pulls out of there. This is what I expected would probably happen, because it's a rubbery, plasticky material. As soon as I touched it, pieces broke off it. So we'll put it back in there as much as we can. It's an insulation thing, I assume mostly for noise, probably some for temperature, but mostly for noise. But it, you know, wrecked the top of it. And I literally just touched them and they broke, like that one. I mean, they're brittle from time and heat. They just don't hold up. So we'll put it back together as much as we can. I don't know that I'll go as far as ordering a new one. Actually, I know I won't, because that's not how I roll. And then pulled the blower motor out. I took these screws out under the bottom of the dash and then turned the blower motor to where it had a flat side and could just barely flex it and get it by the dash. So that just barely snuck out. They practically fell out on the other trucks I saw. So we'll get in here and see if I can show you. Get a little light. That's what the evaporator looks like, and it is plugged full. I recently learned the one in your house will do the same thing if your filters aren't kept clean and you have lots of dogs and cats. So you can get some stuff from the AC HVAC guys that'll clean that out. I've sprayed it down with some purple power, and now we're just going to hose it out. Before I did that, I reached in there. The only solids I could find was this. I was surprised there wasn't a bunch of leaves and pine needles and stuff in there, but that was kind of gross. But I pulled it out of the bottom. So now we'll clean it back up. I'm going to go get my oldest son's toothbrush and use it to clean that out. Maybe he'll get a new one, maybe he won't. But I'm going to use it anyway. And then we'll hose it out. It'll drain through the factory AC drain onto the ground. And hopefully we'll have a lot more air volume. Well, I was able to contort my hand in there a little bit more and get it shoved way back in there, and yeah, there was a lot more in there. That's a little closer to what I expected to find. This is my original little turd that was in there, which I don't actually think is a turd, or I wouldn't be poking at it like that. But mud and muck and pine needles and leaves, and that's a little more what I expected to find. To give you an idea of the depth that goes towards the front of the truck, how far forward that goes. Maverick's entire toothbrush will fit in there this way if you turn it and get it up in there. So you can't see nothing with my hand in the way. But at any rate, it goes way back in there. I'll give you a view of where it looks, what it looks like now. We're getting better. I see a lot of guys that just shove the garden hose in there, and I don't like that idea because to some degree you're going to cram this stuff further back into those fins and probably create a problem further down the road. So I am brushing it gently with the toothbrush, hosing it down with the cleaner, and then I just poked a hole in the top of this water bottle and got a little squirty action that way. Once I get it pretty clean, I probably will run it up to the house and then hit it with the garden hose just to get the remaining little stuff, but I want to get the big stuff out first so I don't plug it up and create another problem again sooner down the road, because short of Maverick crashing this one too, I think Missy wants to keep this one forever. So we're gonna go a little further and then we'll come back once we know if we've actually fixed anything. And just for fun, I told you that would drain through the bottom. I cleaned my floor before I started. That dark, nasty puddle is the stuff that's draining out of that AC unit. Yep. It's no wonder we have such a strong immune system breathing all that garbage. Well, I never thought I'd stick a garden hose under the dash of any of our cars, but once I got it pretty clean with multiple applications of the cleaner and the toothbrush and very low pressure with the water bottle, we stuck this guy under there and just gave it the beans and ran it until the water turned from brown to clear-ish coming out of the drain. So looks a lot better in there now, and we're gonna put it back together and see if we get some better airflow. So we'll see if I can put it back together without breaking anything else. So the top bolt in this blower motor is kind of a bugger to get to. Get my finger in there. It's right there. And I'm not going to get to it from the bottom. Well, yeah, not easily get to it from the bottom. So I'm going to get to it from the top with a whole bunch of extensions. And because I don't want to drop this bolt 16 times, put a little blue tape on the socket to hold it. Now the key is to not put so much on there that it won't let go when you're done, so that you have to fight to reach in there with your giant hands in a tiny space to get your socket back. We want just enough to hold it, but little enough so that it'll tear and pull away when we get done tightening it down. And we're not going to go hog on these bolts anyway because it's metal going into plastic, and if you even go a little crazy, you're just going to strip the hole and your blower motor is going to flop around and make an awful racket. So that tape works good for holding screws or bolts or nuts when you can't quite reach to get two big hands in where they shouldn't be. So I thought I'd go over some of the stuff we used, the tools we used, of course the hose sprayer that I left up by the house because that's the wife's for watering her flowers and stuff. Maverick's toothbrush, I already got that cleaned up and put back. Before I get any hate about it, don't worry about it. He's almost 21 years old and I'm pretty sure Mommy still bought his toothbrush, so if I want to use it to clean out her car, I'm going to use it. I rinsed it and put it back and he won't know the difference. Anyway, some sockets, 7mm really is the only one I needed. The 1/4" drive ratchet, extensions, the universal joint, the wobbly on the end, it's pretty handy. The magnet tray to keep me from losing all the little bolts that come out of that dash. The gloves for when I decided to remove this bulb after it had already been burning for about 10 minutes and it was about 1,000 degrees. Paper towels, had some cleaner that I still had, that's over there on the bench. The towel really didn't have to catch much because the only reason it caught any water was just the hose dribbling a little bit as I ran it in there and out. But I think we've made an improvement here. We've got much better flow. I'll fire it up here and show you. I mean, I can't even get it close. Before it was kind of laying down in front of it. Now it's pretty much standing it straight out. It's better. I don't think it's ever going to perform like a new car, but it's much cooler than most of the new cars. So stay tuned. If you like what we're doing, click like, subscribe. This project, all honesty, and it's hot. It took me hour and a half. I don't see how you could do this in half an hour and do a good job of cleaning it out without just jamming the hose in there and hoping you don't destroy the core. So we took our time, we did a little bit at a time, cleaned it, brushed it out, cleaned it, brushed it out, real low pressure from a water bottle, and then finally hit it with a hose once I felt like it was mostly clean. So hour and a half. We're going to keep doing stuff on this maintenance-wise, repair-wise, and hopefully when the budget allows, we'll do some fun stuff with it. Try and get it on the same level or higher than where the old one was, as far as power and that kind of stuff. So if you like what we're doing, subscribe. There's plenty more to come. And remember, until next time, if I can do it, you can do it.